Alright, everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So as promised last week, we're going to get caught up with the other read-throughs, get current with the other read-throughs from last week. So last week we got into more Battle Angel, Alita, Mars Chronicle. So this weekend we're going to get to the next couple of parts of Black Hammer, as well as the next volume of Bride's Story. So really looking forward to that, especially Black Hammer, especially. The last couple of stuff we read for the first video was really good, so I'm really excited to dive into the next couple of parts here. Before we begin, as always, if you do like this content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate everyone helping me having got to my last channel subscriber goal. So I'm going to set a loftier one for the next one, so if you'd like to help me achieve that as well, that would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let us get into it with Black Hammer number 3. I really love the retro comic book covers that they're doing for each little individual issue. I really like that homage. So we have Black Hammer starring Barbalian, Warlord from Mars. Also, a ghastly new tale from the Cabin of Horrors. That's a lot of fun. So you see in the church, someone is singing, "You shall cross the barren desert, but you shall not die of thirst. You shall wander far in safety, though you do not know the way. You shall speak your words in foreign lands, and all will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come follow me, and I will give you rest." And you see that Barbarian singing along with the chorus. And you have, "If you've passed through raging waters and the sea, you shall not drown. If you walk amid the burning flames, you shall not be harmed. If you stand before the power of hell and death is at your side, know that I am with you through it all." You have the Warlord of Mars, and we have a crashed NASA ship on Mars. We have, "Where did they come from? It's like the third planet, our closest neighbor. There will be more of them. We cannot allow that." And you have a, "Do not panic. They may be a peaceful species. I see no weapons." And you see what looks like an alien, Martian priest with these little winged spike things on his helmet, wearing this big black robe. You have, "Do not be so naive, Marks. We should launch our war fleet, wipe them out before they have a chance to attack us." And you see Barbalian going, "That is far too rash, Chancellor Locklaws. We should send a scout, use our ability to change shape to live among them, educate ourselves. We may find allies, not enemies on the third planet." And he goes, "Ha! Look at this weak fool, John Johns. Just like his father before him. A coward." And you have, "Yes, Chancellor Locklaws, I have heard that Mark Mars was afraid of battle training. Now I see that it is true." And he goes, "These are not the only rumors I've heard about you, Marks." And he goes, "My father died uniting the red tribes of Mars. He did it with his words, not his sword. That did not make him a coward. And I try to live my life I'll try to live my life by the same principle. As for those other rumors, Chancellor Locklaws, I will not dignify them with a response." And you see him going, "You really think we should investigate the home of these invaders, Marks?" Hold on, can I full screen this? Sorry, just give me a second here. No, it's not letting me. That's very annoying. You know what? Let me do that. Okay, we're good. Oh, yes, it goes, oh, fucking hell. So you see the Chancellor just grabbing the corpse of the astronaut that they're examining, and with a crack, he just rips off the head, pulls it free from the body, and goes, "Then I volunteer." Okay, so that's. So it looks like he's going to absorb the DNA of the astronaut, and that's the form he's taken on. It looks very much like his current human form. So it looks like he basically absorbed, took the DNA and copied his form. Chancellor hands it to him, goes, "Then I volunteer you, our great diplomat, for the mission." He's like, "Me? But Chancellor, I have no training in spaceflight or espionage." And he goes, "Maybe you should spend more time in battle training then, eh? Let's see your words protect you now. Of course, if the third planet is harmless as you think, it should be no problem. Prepare yourselves, Marks. Your spacecraft leaves at dawn. Maybe you can bring that head as a peace offering." And you see the rocket ship taking off from the red planet. And you have, "Blessed are your poor, for the kingdom shall be theirs. Blessed are you that weep and mourn, for one day you shall laugh. Be not afraid, I go before you. Always come, follow me, and I will give you rest. That priest guy looks so honest. You see his face just shadowed, with just like the glasses looking out at them. Blessed are your poor, for the kingdom shall be theirs. Blessed are you that weep and mourn, for one day you shall laugh. And if wicked men insult and hate you all because of me, blessed are you. Be not afraid, I go before you always. Come follow me, and I will give you rest. You shall speak your words in foreign lands, and all will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. And you see the sheriff bro from last time just glaring at Marks in the back. As if you shall speak your words in foreign lands, and all will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. And you see later that evening as Slam Abraham is in bed with Tammy. And she goes, well, Abe, I didn't expect that when you said you were going to stop by the diner last night. And he's like, our first sleepover. How'd I do? And she's like, not bad for an old man. So I'm going to get to sleep over at your house next. And he's just silent because she's like, Abe? And he's like, my family is, well, it's complicated, Tammy. I don't know how they would take it. Might need to give them some time to get used to us first. And she's like, we're adults, Abe. I'm sure your family can deal with it. I'm the one with the jealous ex who carries a gun. He's like, hey, I can handle Trueheart, Tammy, trust me. Gail is much scarier than the good sheriff will ever be. And she goes, what are we doing here, Abe? I'm too old for a fling, and you're definitely too old for one. And he's like, hey, I'm not that old. She's like, look, Abe, I'm glad we happened, I am. But I want more than this, don't you? He's like, Tammy, for the first time in my life, I actually feel content. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm where I belong. But my family, Gail, Mark, my daughter, it's like, they what? Whenever you start to talk about them, you trail off, never really explaining anything. And he's like, it's complicated. It's like, yeah, and then you say that. Come on, Abe, if you really want us to work, at some point you've got to let me in. He's like, come on, you got me, why do you need them too? She's like, don't. He's like, want to come over for dinner tomorrow night? She just side-eyes him, was like, family dinner? He's like, family dinner. And she leans over to kiss him and is like, yes, I'd love to. Thank you, Abe. He's like, hey, I gotta get going soon. It's like, why? It's my day off. It's like, I got chores to do. It's like, oh, come on, old man. What's the matter? Don't have the stamina anymore? And then he just gets on top. He's like, I'll show you stamina, little lady. It's one of my superpowers. She's like, my hero. And you see later outside as everyone's milling outside the church after the congregation, everything's over. And you see Mark's watching the priest who's just like talking to some of the parishioners. And Sheriff Bro comes up behind him and goes, didn't think I'd ever see one of you here. He's like, one of us, Sheriff? He's like, didn't think you or your family were the church-going type. He's like, you don't know a thing about my family, Trueheart. He's like, no one seems to know much of anything about you. Almost like you want to keep it that way. My experience, people usually only do that when they have something to hide. He's like, well, I know how worldly and experienced you are, Sheriff. Have you ever even left this town? Just because we like our privacy doesn't mean we're the enemy. He's like, no, but maybe you're here because you've developed a guilty conscience about something or someone. And he both just glancing over at the priest. And Trueheart walks up and goes, afternoon, send my best wishes to Abe, will you? It's like, always a pleasure, Sheriff. And as he's walking away, you see this fleece just floating down nearby Mark's head. And you see another flashback as his rocket comes in for landing and lands in the water. And it's like, this way, hurry! As he pulls himself onto the dock and starts to try to run. It's like, thing's heavy, boss, going as fast as I can. It's like, should be heavy, loaded with enough junk to make us rich. So quit your yap and put your back into it. And you see some gangsters just like loading up some crates. And you have a freeze! God, it's like, ain't taking me alive, coppers! Like, bam, bam, bam! And they shoots him. It's like, you killed a cop, boss! It's like, run, you idiot! And you see Barbellion stepping out to intercept them, and he says something in the Martian language. He's like, what the heck is that thing? He's like, what it is dead. And you have blam, blam, blam as he tries to shoot it. And it just bells just bounce off of him. And he's like, dead? And he's like, ah! As he just backhands the guy and sends him flying. He's like, no, dead. You have cripes! And you see as the henchman's trying to run away, Marx is like, cripes? He's like, no, run. And he just like runs and lands in front of him with a thud. He goes, cripes. No dead. No run. Freeze. And with a whack across his jaw, he just slams him down. And you have dead. Killed a cop. Oh, I thought he was for sure he's gonna... Oh, never mind. Oh, did he? No, apparently not. Yes, he goes and grabs like the cop's corpse and he goes, dead. Killed a cop. Dead. And he seems slowly starting to transform into the cop's visage. He's like, quit your yapping and put your back into it. It's like, ain't taking me alive. And he grabs the cop's corpse and just goes and dumps it in the harbor. And you have the guy's partner showing up with a sweet Christmas. You took him out without me. It's like, nice work, partner. And he's like, partner. And you see him back in the churchyard. He's like watching the leaves falling around him. Jeff, telling you, man, these freaks are taking over. They can't be trusted. I mean, this Barbalian guy's the weirdest of all. A warlord from Mars? I mean, Mars? It's like, oh, I don't know. He seems alright to me, helping us do our jobs. And God, I love these villain designs. You have this giant steel minotaur with like this nose chain coming out of it that's just like holding in one hand. It's like, I heard he took up Metal Minotaur last week, stopped him from bombing City Hall. Jeff, how long we been partners now? It's like 6 years. It's like 6 years. Man, you've known me that long. Do you think you can win me over? I'm never going to side with these vigilantes. I don't care how much you try to sell it. It's like, I don't see Barbalian or Abe Slam staking out warehouses in the East End for 6 hours straight. They start doing that, I might come around. It's like, man, 6 years. Can't believe we've been together that long. It's like, yeah, seems like only yesterday we met. It's like, I tell you, man, you know me better than just about anyone at this point. And he's like, yeah. It's like, I don't have a lot of other friends. It's like, you should go out more. Don't know why you never hit the bar with the rest of the squad. It's like, I'm not really good with crowds. It's the truth is, Cole, our partnership, our friendship has meant a lot to me. I've learned so much from you. Oh boy, alright. So yeah, it's like, you always made me feel like I belong. And as they're sitting in the car, like Barbalian just like reaches over a hand and puts it on sorry, hold on 1 second. I'll have to move my monitor. Just give me a second here. Sorry, I just noticed my monitor was a little bit in the edge of the screen there, but yes, I see him reaching over, like putting a hand on his thigh. And as far as like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I thought, he's like, what? Thought what? What the hell, man? He's like, no, I just, it's like, you just nothing, get out. He's like, what? He's like, get out of the car. He's like, oh, look, I'm sorry, it's like, should have known, man, you've always been a freak. Oh boy, alright. Now what Chancellor Lock said about like all the other rumors I've heard make a lot of sense with Barbalian being gay, so I am very, very interested now where this is going. You see a screech as his partner takes off. And he thinks, oh, you've always been a freak. And he sees as Barbalian standing there after his partner's taken off, he transforms, like he's getting all furious. He goes back to his Martian form, and he goes to this abandoned building, just knocks down the doors. He hears, freak! He's like, the hell? It's like, what the hell is it? And you see a bunch of gangsters inside, and he starts knocking them all out. He's like, what am I? He's like, I am a freak. A monster. And you see as the priest is waving to him, he's like a monster, and he just like turns away and starts walking away. And you see back at the farm as he waves to Gale sitting back on the roof of the barn. And he floats up with a Gale. It's like, hey Barbie, where you been? It's like, believe it or not, I was at church. Ha, good one. Seriously, where'd you go? He's like, seriously. She's like, why? He's like, I don't really know. Looking for something new, I guess. It's like, did you find it? It's like, maybe. Truth is, I think I'm too scared to find out. It's funny. My power has always allowed me to fit right in, be anyone. But I always hide in plain sight, never really a part of anything. It was like that growing up on Mars. It was like that back in my old life in Spiral City. And now I think I might have found someone like me. But, and Gale's like, well, Chances are this person may feel the same way, Barbie. Maybe they just didn't have the courage to tell you yet. And he's like, you think? It's like, there's only one way to find out. It's like, you're right. I've never been a coward in this place. All we do here is hide. Hide who we really are. I'm gonna go for it, Gale. He's like, you are? He's like, yes. I honestly really love the relationship between them. He just gives like a little kiss on the head with a smack. And he's like, thanks, Gale. You really are a sweetheart. She's like, thanks. Oh. God damn, you can't heartbreak me like that. It's like 2 pages into this chapter. God damn it, man. Yeah, as he's going away, like, poor Gale's like, so like, tears coming out of her face, and she's looking all sad, and she starts crying again. Oh, she really thought she was going to get a confession. Oh, God damn it, man. It's punching me right in the gut. And you have, elsewhere out in the desert, you have this little crater. And you have Dr. Trigg. It's like, Ms. Weber, I'm so glad you could come on short notice. And it's the reporter lady we saw way back at one of the beginning chapters. And she's like, of course, if what you say is true, this may be something I've been looking for a very long time. He's like, oh, it's real, all right. Couldn't believe it myself when I saw it. It's like, how do you know it's authentic? It's like, as I said on the phone, in my youth, I was part of the science team that helped develop equipment for the superhuman community. So I'm certain, Ms. Weber, this came from Colonel Weird's ship. And you see a little crater impact landing with the probe that Walkie Talkie had sent off. Again, I love these covers. They're so good. You know, Black Hammer #4 comics, Abraham Slam in the Crypts of Cthulhu. And you see this octopus-headed guy just like holding onto these grinders, and he's got like his tentacles wrapped around Abraham. Oh, love it. Yeah, Spiral. So very obviously based on Captain America. Very, very obvious Abraham Slam now. So yeah, Spiral City, the Lower East Side. I'm pretty sure, wouldn't they say in like the Captain America movies as well that he was supposed to be from the Lower East Side? And you have, I'm sorry, Mr. Slamkowski, but you're unfit for service. He said, but I gotta get overseas and help take it to those filthy Nazis, Doc. Please. I may be skinny, but I can fight as good as anyone. I just know I can. This guy, admire your gumption, son, but you didn't pass a single element of the physical. You're nearsighted, as thin as a toothpick, and your lungs are weak. Maybe you can find a way to help Uncle Sam here at home, huh? And you see later as he's going outside, he's like, what's the matter, Pipsqueak? Did you strike out with the nurse? It's like, ha! And as he's sitting like all despondent looking outside this, on this little barrel, he's like, I can't believe the Army wouldn't take me. I've already been turned down by the Navy and Air Force. All I want to do is get to Europe and fight. And you see this big buff black guy approaching him with a, why so glum, chum? He's like, huh? It's like, sorry, mister. I just want to be alone. The Army won't take me. I'm about as useless as it gets. Like, well, it sounds to me like you've already given up there, boy. You really want to fight, you got to learn how to take a few punches. It's like, what do you know about it? And he just points to a little building behind him with Socklingham Boxing Gym. It's like, I can teach you to fight. Might even be able to help you put on a few pounds on them clothes hangers you call shoulders. It's like, punch... Oh, my fucking God. Punch Socklingham. You have Abraham Slamkowski. Real nice to meet you. Can you really help me get in shape? Teach me to fight? It's like, that depends. You ready to put in the hard work, Abe? It's like, you bet I am. And you have Slam Bam, thank you, ma'am. As you see him just like lifting weights, like doing little practice bouts in the gym. He's like bulking up and putting on muscle. He's like, wow, Punch, can't believe you were really a heavyweight contender. It's like, sure was, Abe. With a name like mine, I was just born to fight, just like you. It's like Slamkowski, Slam. It's like Abraham Slam. It's got a nice ring to it. And you come a long way from the walking beanpole that I met on the street all those months ago. There's no way he did that in months without like some kind of help, if you know what I mean. It's like, you could fight anyone now, Abe. Sorry, give me a sec, my dogs are being dinguses. You have a Socklingham. You and your girlfriend done telling each other off yet? He's like, Punch, who is that? He's like, quiet, Abe. He's like, stay here. And you see as he goes up to him, he's like, tell Mr. Olsen I'll have the money next Friday. I guarantee it. Ooh. Oh my God. It's like, your word is mud around here, Socklingham. And Abe's like, Punch, It's like, time's up, Punch. Boss told us to punch your ticket. Ha! Christ. And you see with the blams, he shoots him. And Abe's like, Punch! It's like, what do we have here? Punch's little girlfriend got something to say? It's like, can't leave no witnesses, Otter. It's like, you rotten bastards! He just knocks him out with a punch. It's like, you'll never get away with this. It's like, hold on, Punch. I'll call an ambulance. It's like, too late, Abe. It's like, but not for you. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, you got more heart than anyone I've ever seen, kid. Never stop fight. It's like, Punch is right. Maybe I missed out on the fight overseas, but this just proves there's still plenty I can do back here at home. I'll use my training to track down this nefarious Mr. Olsen and all the other thugs like him that are taking over Spiral City. But not as Abe Slamkowski, no. Criminals and no-gooders will come to fear me by another name. It's like, Abraham Slam. Java, yo, Earth to Abe. Java, huh? As you see back at the farmhouse, Abe's got like his hands deep in some dishes. And he's like, what is it, Gale? It's like, where's my favorite black t-shirt? It's like, how would I know? Ask Talkie Walkie. He's like, Abe, as much as you like to think of me as your housekeeper, it is not my week for laundry. It's bad enough I have to cook for this woman tonight. And Mark Marks is like, she's not just some woman, Talkie. This is Tammy Trueheart we're talking about. Abe's main squeeze, his sweetheart. She might even be the one, right, Abraham? I mean, none of us have ever brought anyone home to meet the fam before. This is big. Are you two going steady, Abe? Did you give her your homecoming pin? Are you going to prom together? He's like, I'm glad you find this amusing, Abe. He's like, oh, I do. I really, really do. You see that he's sitting there reading H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds. And Abe goes, your t-shirt is probably in the pile in the basement, Gale. You'll have to clean it yourself. And remember, dinner is at 6. Do not be late. It's like, whatever. It's like I care what Titty Tammy Hosebag thinks. And Abe's like, you can help too, you know. There's a lot to get ready. And Marx is like, I am helping. I'm reading my books so that I can enrich my mind and make simulating dimmer conversation with Titty Tammy. He's like, don't call her that. He's like, so, I was like, oh, sorry, it just nipped out. Oh, I mean, slipped out. He's just like, He's like, Abraham, stop worrying. Honestly, I've seen you go head to head with cosmic despots and you've never looked this nervous before. He's like, I just really like her, Barbie. I just want this dinner to go well. He's like, it will, I promise. I'll be on my best behavior and so will Gale. What could possibly go wrong? And you see with the Shrek as Colonel Weir just buzzes in and like this glowy like lightning blue energy. He's like, oh, hello, Abraham. Why are you on the ceiling? And he's like, oh, sweet Christ, I'm doomed. So Mark just snorts. And he's just like, oh, that's better. It's like, look, Colonel, I have a favor to ask. It's like, of course, Abraham, anything. It's like, well, I'm having a friend over for dinner tonight, a lady friend, and it's like, oh, that's wonderful. I'd very much like to meet her. It's like, well, that's just it, Colonel. I don't think she would understand. I mean, it's like, me? You're worried about me, Abe? I assure you I can play my part. I'll be your son, Randy, just like always. He's like, well, Colonel, to be frank, I'm not sure we can trust you to play that part. I'd really appreciate it if you didn't come to dinner tonight, just in case. Maybe stay in the Parazone or in the barn with Talkie? And he's just like, oh, I see. It's just that, well, you haven't exactly been yourself lately. It's like, of course, Abraham, I understand. Don't worry, I won't embarrass you. It's like, that's not what And he's just like, what? And Mark is like, you know what? You were a little hard on him, weren't you, Abe? It's like, a little tough love never hurt anyone, Barbie. It's like, sure, Abe, whatever you say. And you see as Gale's heading down into the basement, is like poking through the laundry stuff. She sees her black shirt, and she hears nearby, she sees a bunch of clothes in a cardboard box, and starts picking through them. Oh god, she sees Barbellion's like old cloak that he's wearing, and she takes a sniff, and he's like, oh, Barbie. And then she starts like crying again. Oh, god damn, man. You see later that night, you have Talkie Walkie going, forks on the other side, Abraham. How many times must I tell you? It's like, right, got it. Look, you should get moving, out to the barn. Tammy will be here soon. He's like, this is so demeaning. I cook the dinner and then I have to go hide in the barn like some animal. It's like, not you too, Taki. Seriously, I've had about enough drama. He's just like, bleep bloop, I am sorry, master. Bleep, I am just a loyal robot. I live to serve my human overlords. Beep bloop beep. And Abraham's just like, he goes and like looks himself in the river and just like slunched over like old man. Then he thinks back when he's, Abraham Slam is like fighting all these foes and like meeting all these things. And he tries to like puff himself up again. He's like patting his little beer belly and he's just like, and we see with the Shrek, the Colonel teleporting himself into the washroom. And then he just takes out a razor blade and kind of just looks at it, looks at himself in the shine of it. I really hope this was because he's planning to just cut his beard and not an implication of something else. And you see later with the knock knock is hey there, beautiful. It's like, hey, you old charmer, I bought pie, apple. It's like, you're a good one, Tammy Trueheart, come in. It's like, relax, Abe, I'm the one who's supposed to be nervous. He's like, sorry. And you see Mark going, Tammy, so glad you could make it for dinner. It's like, hello, Mark, something smells good. It's like, yes, I've been cooking all day. And you see as they take a seat in the living room, he's like, so have you seen Gail, Mark? She should be down here by now. It's like, I think she was just jabbing right here, Grandpa. And you see Tammy's just gone full goth, black collar with this black shirt with the black lamps on it, like this little eyeshadow, like streak, skull earrings, the whole 9 yards. She's like, when's dinner? I'm really fucking hungry. And Abe's like, Gail, that is enough of that language, and what on earth are you wearing? It's like, just some of Mommy's makeup, Grandpa. See, she said I could. She said I could. Don't you think I look pretty? He's like, get upstairs and wipe that off right now. He's like, why are you so angry, Grandpa? You know I don't like it when you yell at me like this. And Tammy's like, really, Abe? She's just having fun. I think you look great, Gail. Besides, I'm pretty fucking hungry too. And you see as they're sitting around the dinner table, she's like, it's delicious, Mark. He's like, why, thank you. I slaved over the stove all day. And Tammy's like, isn't your daughter joining us, Abe? He's like, well, my daughter isn't feeling too well. She decided it would be best to stay in bed so you don't catch it. And you see Madame Dragonfly just doing like some hoodoo or something in her little thing. She's got like these little hoodoo dolls set up and like these candles all lit. And Gail's like, my mommy's sick a lot. She stays in her room all the time. And Abe's like, Gail, honey, that's not really true. I wouldn't say. It's like, that's terrible. Has she seen anyone, a doctor? It's like, no, I think she's mostly sick because my daddy is never home. It's like, where is Randall, Abe? Didn't you say he was traveling with work? It's like, yes, my son is a busy man. He's actually gone back home to our old place for a bit. It's like, you all came here from somewhere in Canada, right? And Abe's like, Saskatchewan. And Mark's like, Montreal. It's like, well, yes, Saskatchewan, but I went to university in Montreal. And Tammy's like, really? What did you study? And Gail's like, Uncle Mark's starting to be a priest, but he got kicked out of the church on account of his drinking and having an affair with a nun. Right, Uncle Mark? It's like, Gail, that's not... It's like, what? Uncle Mark? You told me I always had to tell the truth, remember? Oh my God. And she's like, cut it out, Gail. It's like, don't yell, Uncle Mark. And he's like, Mark, maybe we should... It's like, but Grandpa, Uncle Mark shouldn't be ashamed. He's almost sober again. And he even went back to church yesterday. And Mark stands up and goes, shut up, Gail. And he's like, would you two please just... You have Tammy going, sorry, why did it go backwards? It's like, stop it right there. And you see a flashback to when he's fighting Cthulhu. And you have, I am the many-angled one, the dark son of Carcosa. Your ancestors called me Bin Tot Sokum Tik. But you can call me Cthulhu. He just grabs a card, just throws it with a thum. And Abraham's like, I know exactly who you are, Dr. Lewis Love. You're a biology professor at Spiral University. You spliced your DNA together with radioactive Christ. Oh man, that was good. Sorry, just. Oh god, alright, I hurt myself laughing, I hurt myself. Oh god, alright. You spliced your DNA together with a radioactive octopus and went bonkers, killing 6 of your grad students. And you have to pay for those deaths, doctor, as he pulls out a little gun. It's like, you know nothing, Abraham Slam. The body of Dr. Lewis Love is merely my vessel. I will sterilize this planet and repopulate it with my spawn. And you shall be the next to die. As he just like wraps his tentacles around him. And you have a Krakoom and a I didn't think so squid breath. He's like, Black Hammer? It's like, Abraham, this one's a little out of your weight class, don't you think? It's like, I was managing just fine. It's like, really? Didn't look like it to me, Grandpa. It's like, now listen here. It's like, no, you listen to me, Abraham. Times are changing. It's not the 1940s anymore. This is 1979, in case you haven't noticed. The world is in chaos. It's not just street gangs and bank robbers anymore. The threats are getting bigger and more deadly all the time. I have enough to deal with without having to babysit you. And you see him just grabbing Cthulhu and just hoisting him off as he goes flying off into the sky. It's like, maybe it's time you thought about hanging up the mask, old man. And you see back with the present with, Grandpa, how come Sheriff Trueheart's wife is here without him? Why isn't she eating dinner with her husband, Grandpa? And you have that's very rude, Gale. You apologize to Miss Trueheart right this minute. Alright, I was right. So there's a colonel? It's a colonel. Abe, you didn't tell me your son was in the army. You have Air Force, actually, ma'am. Canadian Air Force. That's why I have to travel so much, I'm afraid. And you see that Colonel Weird indeed did take the shaver and just kind of like completely trimmed his hair, completely trimmed his beard, clean shaven, like buzz cut. Or at least like hair shorn down very short, like put on his proper uniform and everything. He's like, now Gail, honey, I still don't believe I've heard you apologize to our guest. And you see Gail just sitting there shocked, and she's like, sorry, Dad, and sorry, Miss Trueheart. It's like, it's alright, honey, I know how hard it is sometimes to have a stranger in the house. And you go, it smells absolutely delicious. Is this your old recipe, brother, the way I used to like it? And Mark is like, yes it is. So, and I think this deserves a toast to our lovely guest. We're so happy you and Dad have found each other, aren't we, Gail, honey? And she's still just completely stunned, going, yeah. It's like, well, Abe, he certainly has your charm. It's like, careful, Dad, might have to steal this one. And you see later that night as he's escorting her out, she's like, well, that one just about as good as I expected. It's like, it was great. And he's like, I'm sorry about all that with Gail. She hasn't been herself lately. It's like, it's fine, it was fine, Abe, really. She's just a kid. Go easy on her. It's like, yeah, well, I'm sorry about Mark, too. It's like, Abe, quit apologizing for your family. It's like, I know, like, you just nothing. Everyone's family is a little nuts. They wouldn't be family if they weren't. And I like yours a lot. It's like, yeah? It's like, yeah. So you better get ready because this was the first of many dinners. And next time I'm sleeping over. And he's like, don't write any checks your ass can't cash, sweetheart. It's like, I never do, old man. And as they lock lips, you have a motherfucker. You backstabbing motherfucker. And you see the sheriff just sitting there spying on them. So what am I going to do with you, old man? Don't know yet, but it ain't going to be nice. And as he's driving off, you see this root just coming out of the ground. And I think that's supposed to be Madame Dragonfly. And she goes, what am I going to do with you, Sheriff? I don't know yet, but it won't be nice. As you have Spiral City now. Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to see me, Doc. I know you're retired. It's like semi-retired, Lucy dear. Plus, as a friend of your father's, you know I'd do anything for you. It's like, friend, I'd say you're more than my father's friend. You're Jimmy Robinson, Dr. Andromeda. My dad loved you. It's like, I may still work in the observatory from time to time, but those days are behind me, dear. Now then, as I said on the phone, the coordinates you gave me, the ones that NASA calculated the probe's trajectory back to, there was nothing there, just as NASA said. However, as you know, my cosmic power telescope can see things even NASA can't. So you found something up there? It's like, see for yourself, Lucy. Excuse me. It's like, my God, is that? It's like, yes, it is. It's a doorway. And you see like this rectangular yellow door just like in the middle of space somewhere. Very much reminds you of like the Phantom Zone from Superman. And then we have Black Hammer number 5, Colonel Weir pulled into the Parazone. So you have the Odyssey of Randall Weird, the Parazone, a place beyond places, a time beyond time. And you have, I have looked into the face of pure darkness. Not evil, no, more like nature turned black. It's like, I am sorry, Gale. It's like, I was just passing by. Please excuse me. It's like, they know. I think they know. It's like, there's a design to it all. But I cannot manipulate it. I cannot change that design. I am as helpless to follow its curves and angles as you are. Jeff, almost done here, Mission Control. Should be wrapping things up and heading back within the hour. Jeff, that may be a rather generous estimate, Colonel. My sensors are picking up unknown life forms approaching fast. He's like, I thought the alien race on this planet was extinct, Talkie. And you see like these cyborg like spider aliens, like Cyclops spider aliens coming at them. Like, so did I, Colonel. It seems NASA's intel was incorrect. It's like, let's do something about that, shall we, old chum? Do you have a chum as they fire off some lasers and obliterate them? It almost seemed like they're trying to push us back from that cave. I wonder what they're hiding in there. And you have a crude cave drawing, Colonel. Should I record it and send the image back to Mission Control on Earth? And you see like this weird, like sticky looking figure like pointing at something, it looks like. It's like, yes, but I don't think it's just a drawing, talkie-walkie. I think it's a map. It's like, NASA, this is Colonel Randall Weird. We have found what appears to be a star chart on Virius 6, requesting permission to investigate further. It's like, affirmative, Colonel. Request granted. So, but you better make it back here before New Year's. I don't intend to bring in 1956 alone. It's like, you got it, Eve. I'll be home soon, promise. And you're like, I don't understand why you waste your time with Eve Argo, Colonel. She's so, it's like, human. It's like, what is that supposed to mean? You know exactly what it means, Talkie, old gal. We've been over this. Much as I value our companionship out here in space, it's a Colonel? Randall? What is it? It's like, nothing, I guess. Thought I saw something for a second, like someone watching us. So my sensors are picking up no other life forms on this planet, Colonel. It was nothing. Just my imagination playing tricks on me again. And you see the older Colonel Weird kind of like watching through like this dimensional doorway into this past. And Jeff, let's get going, Walkie. I want to investigate that map and then go home. And you see him like flying through like this weird subspace where you have like these 5 green fingered hands, like each one's like one's Gale, Abe, or one's I guess Madam Dragonfly. One's Abe, one's Gale, one's the Colonel Weird, one's Mark. Madam Dragonfly, I do not like it in here. There are too many rooms. And she's like, more than you know, Colonel Weird. And I've told you before, if you don't like it, then don't pop in here like this. It's creepy. It's like, you're creepy. And you see as he's floating back in the Parazone, you have, well, I think this deserves a toast to our lovely guest. We're so happy you and Dad have found each other, aren't we, Gale, honey? He's like, yeah. Oh, sorry, it's the dinner. It's like, well, Abe, he certainly has your charm. Jeff, I remember. It's like, not yet. Almost there, but not quite yet. And he goes to another one. He's like, knock, knock. So it's Mark knocking on a door. And he has, Mark, what a surprise. He's like, sorry, Father. Hope I'm not interrupting anything. It's like, not at all. I was just procrastinating, finding new ways to put off writing my sermon for this weekend. How can I help you, Mark? Is everything all right? It's like, oh yes, everything is fine. Nothing wrong or anything like that. It's like, well, I was passing by the church and saw the flyer in the window for the church bazaar coming up at the end of the month. And I thought maybe if you need another volunteer, I could help out. Watch a table, sell baked goods, whatever. It's like, sorry, stupid of me to bother you. I'm sure you'll have enough help. It's like, no, don't be silly. I'd be thrilled to have your help. It's like, really? It's like, yes. Truth is, it'll be nice to have someone to work with other than all those eager old biddies on the parish council. And if you tell anyone I said that, I'll deny it. It's like, your secret is safe. It's like, more like a confession. It's like, actually, maybe you can stop by for dinner this week. We can work on the floor plan. I'm having a hard time organizing the whole thing, to be honest. It's like, that would be great. Should I bring anything? It's like, I'm Irish and Roman Catholic. You better bring wine or no work will get done. It's like, it's a deal. It's like, well, I better let you get back to procrastinating. It's like, yes, I suppose so. Good to see you, Mark. It's like, you too, Father. And as he's walking away, you see Colonel Weir just like hovering in the tree branches above him watching. And Mark's like, Weird? Someone will see you. What the hell are you doing out here like that? This guy was just passing by. Please excuse me. He's like, wait, were you spying on me? It's like, look, you better go before... It's like, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry. And he's like floating back into the parazone again. Yeah, this is it, Talkie. If that map we found is to be trusted, these are the coordinates they were leading to. It's like, affirmative, Colonel. I've checked and double-checked all data. This is the spot. But I'm sensing nothing out of the ordinary. Perhaps the map was just folklore of the indigenous aliens. Perhaps it meant nothing at all. It's like, maybe. But we came all this way, Talkie. I think I'm going to get a closer look. He's like, did you see anything, Colonel? And you see him like outside floating in his suit. It's like, no, nothing. But I have to say, Talkie, I do feel strange all of a sudden. It's like, Colonel, this is happening. Away. This guy, I see it. It's a doorway, and you see like first an eyeball like covered in like this green like gas coming by with an expansion like this green doorway. He's like, not a good idea, and you see him as he goes through. He's gotten to the parazone. He's like, my God, Walkie, it's like, who are you? And he sees the older version. Like, what? The panel is closing. Talkie, no. He's like, Talkie, help me. It's like, she can't hear you. And you see as he's floating through, he's like, everyone, we can take him if we work together. And you see what looks like a cross between like Galactus and Thanos, with like the same skin, like the little, like the headgear that Galactus has. It's like, together, nothing stands against anti-God, nothing and no one. You have Randy? Randall, is that you? He's like, Eve? He's like, I've been waiting for this. It's like, it can't be. You can't be real. It's like, it's me, Eve. I'm here. It's like, but how? We all thought you were dead. It's like, no, not dead. Not yet. What year is it? It's like 1964. You've been gone almost 9 years. We thought the Russians had gotten you. God, it is you. You left me alone, Randy. Why? Why did you leave? It's like, I didn't mean to. I was lost. I am lost. It's like, what do you mean? You are lost? You're right here. It's like, no. I'm not. I have to go now. I have something that I need to do. It's like, but you just got here. It's like, why can't you just stay? It's like, there is a design to it all, but I cannot manipulate it. I cannot change that design. I am as helpless to follow its curves and angles as you are. Goodbye, Eve. I love you. And you see as he's slowly like dissipating, he's like, always. And he gets tossed back into the parazone. He pops through another doorway into Gail's room and screams. It's like, what are you doing? You can't just pop into my room like that. What if I was naked or something, you perv? It's like, but you were not. It's like, yes, but I could have been. It's like, but I knew that you were not. It's like, not the point, weirdo. It's like, also knew that you've been thinking about me, that you wanted to talk to me. Was I wrong? And he's like, how did you know that? He's like, it is hard to explain. It's like, see how it spins, again and again, around and around, like everything, like this moment. It's like, God, you're such a freak, Colonel. I mean, bona fide whack job. 1 minute you're showing up at Abe's dinner party, all clean cut and sane. The next minute you're talking about crazy fucking shit and creeping around my room. It's like, you wanted to speak to me. There was something you wanted to ask me. And she's silent before she goes, as a matter of fact, there is. I was just sitting here thinking, why haven't you tried to rescue us? Why haven't you gotten us off this fucking farm? And he's like, I cannot. It's like, but you can leave. You can still pop in and out of that damn parazone whenever you want. so why don't you bring us home? Why don't you bring us home through the Parazone? And he's like, I cannot. You would not survive the journey. None of you would. I first entered the Parazone at a specific time and space that somehow made me able to survive, and even that took its toll on my mind. He's like, but I'm willing to take the risk, Randy. I don't care if it kills me. I can't stay here anymore. Not like this. How do you know we won't survive unless we try? He's like, because I did try once before. A woman pleaded with me to take her with me just like you are now. And I am sorry, Gale, but I will not take you through the Parazone. I cannot. It's like, don't you leave. I'm not done talking to you yet. There has to be a way, Colonel. There has to be a way. And as he makes his way back into the Parazone, he sees another door, and he sees like this glowing greenish figure there. Ooh. Ooh. God damn, was that Eve? Oh no. Ooh. God damn. Yeah, so it looks like it's gonna be Eve. I have to like skip ahead and see what you see that she's pulled into the zone, which has been like kind of ripped apart, so her skin's been flayed off and is hanging there. And her brain's like hanging behind it. Behind that is like the rest of her body, like the skin, the muscles, and the bone and everything, with like the entrails also ripped out. And you see like parts of her flayed flesh just like hanging around her like a curtain almost. Oh, god damn. And you see him passing by another door. He's like, are you sure, Eve? I still do not think this is a good idea. He's like, yes, I want to come with you. Explore the Parazone. I don't want to be alone here anymore. And I don't want you to be alone either. He's like, no, Eve, don't do this. Not this time, please. He's like, here we go. This guy just had the strangest sense of deja vu. And he's screaming, no! It's like, I can't see it happen. Not again. And you see him just diving through another door. He screams, and Eve! And you have Colonel? It's like, Abraham. It's like, are you okay, Colonel? He's like, I am fine. It's like, well, you're just in time for the sunset. Grab a beer and catch the show with me. It's like, the sunset. Yes, this is the most beautiful sunset I will ever see. I will join you. And he takes off his helmet and sits down. He's like, pull up a seat. It's like, I never got a chance to thank you for last night. It's like, last night? It's like, dinner with Tammy. It's like, yes, that was last night? It's like, yeah, it was. It's like, hey, how come your beard is back? It's like, sometimes my mind wanders, as does time. It's like, well, you really saved my ass. It's like, it was my pleasure, Abraham. It's like, just look at that. This place isn't so bad, is it, Colonel? I mean, in the grand scheme of things? It's like, no, Abraham. Not in the grand scheme of things. Oh, looks like next time I'm trying to get in Lady Dragonfly. So, looks like her influence is partly at least drawn from swamp things. You have her like floating in the swamp on like one of the cover page things with like this swamp looking like end thing like popping out of the water. But yeah, I'm going to cut it off there because like I said, most videos I'm going to try to keep it around under an hour just so it's easier to process. But again, absolute banger slew of chapters. Really loved all the development, like the backstories we got for all the characters. I love the idea of like, making the actual outsider, Martian alien, a gay man, kind of struggling with that identity on top of everything else. I think that was a really good choice for like a deconstruction of the superhero genre, like the whole outsider trope. I feel like that was a really good choice to have done narratively. Very curious where that's going with his crush on the priest and how that's going to develop. So very interested in that. Like I said, the heartbreak with poor Gale, where it's telegraphed so well, where it's kind of like once you get the reveal, like once it clicks what's going on, it just gut punches you so hard. It was like, Gale's thinking like the wide-eyed look and everything. It's like, oh, of course it makes sense she's getting wide-eyed because she thinks like, oh, Barbalian's about to confess to me, like Mark's about to confess to me and say he has feelings, like, and I feel the same way. And it's such a gut punch when she realized, like, no, it's not talking about me. I'm still alone, kind of stuck in here in this body. And I feel like, just partly also parts I think, like, of course, why would he want to be with a relationship with someone, still looks like a child? So yeah, the tragedy of, like, Gale's whole character is still, I think, the most poignant of all of this, like, all the struggles and stuff she's going through. So that was really hard hitting, really much of a gut punch. I really did love how she's kind of playing up like the spiteful teenager, like making up the stories, be like, Uncle Mark was like, whoring and drinking, but he gave that up to find God. Like, that was just so good. Where she's like, absolutely messing with them because she's trying to vent because she's stuck in this place. She's trying to vent all these feelings she has. And it's like the only way she can kind of get out, like lash out at people to try to get like attention, like all that stuff. So I really liked those bits a lot. I did like the side stuff we got for Captain or Colonel Weird, which again I feel like is supposed to be like a play on like when it was like the hero like Space Force like Buck Rogers, and also very much Doctor Strange like exploring the multiverse kind of stuff. So yeah, really loving all those homages. The Cthulhu thing made me laugh so damn hard because it feels like that was very much a riff on like Spider-Man, Kurt Connors, and possibly also Doctor Octopus with the guy literally splicing himself into becoming an octopus man. So that made me laugh super hard. That was just hilarious. Completely just made me bust a gut laughing. I will say I think Abe's story, I think, so far is the one that's been kind of leaned very heavily on kind of like the stereotypical like comicsy aspects of it, where it's like you had the mentor, the black mentor that died, and he's going to get revenge and all that. Like, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to go out there and like, they'll know the name of Abraham Slam. So I feel like it went a little bit too far, like the campy with that one. Or I like a little bit of like pathos at the end where it's like, Black Hammer's telling him like, you're just a regular guy, you can't keep doing this when the struggles are becoming cosmic, maybe it's time to retire. Which makes sense as to why he's the one that's kind of most readily adapted to this lifestyle over the other ones. But yeah, really like that. Looking forward to seeing Madame Dragonfly's like backstory and whole deal next fall chapter read through. But yeah, really enjoying Black Hammer. Looking forward to getting into more of it. So as always, if you like this content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I mentioned, I'll also get a read through for Bride's Story out this weekend. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.